Going to start with the nation. Speaker Aiyedatiwa to send quit letter. President seeks $8.6 billion and 100 million euros loan to improve livelihood. Fulfill $100 billion pledge on climate change, Tinubu tells US and the EU. Emefiele yet to meet bail conditions back in prison. Obaseki should have consulted me on successor, says Shaibu. Okay, which story? Let me start with the climate change conference. Our president will take advantage of this year's edition of the climate change conference happening in Dubai to remind developed nations and the EU of their pledge to boost localized initiatives against climate change-related challenges with $100 billion annually. The president will today in Dubai, he's actually in Dubai right now, to participate in 28th United Nations COP28 as special advisor on the on media publicity. Ngali mentioned to us. The theme this year is Unite, Act and Deliver. And President will, among others, deliver a national statement highlighting Nigeria's stance on renewable energy and climate financing. I'm pretty excited about that because we have an in-house person who's really into climate change, Mariam Lunge, so hopefully you'll be monitoring the story and see how we can get you in that space. Yes, any other story?
Yes, it's also our president has asked the National Assembly for an approval to obtain a loan of $8.6 billion and 100 million euros. It's part of the federal government's 2022 to 2024 external borrowing plan. The president also stated that the World Bank and the African Development Bank intend to provide $1 billion and $1.5 billion respectively. The president is asking, that the Senate should look at it for, to ensure prompt implementation. The Senate are looking at it. They said they've requested the Senate Committee on Foreign and Local Debts for further legislative work, and they'll meet again in about a week at plenary. But this borrowing is specifically for some projects, and they said these projects cuts across infrastructure, agriculture, health, water supply, road security, and employment generation, as well as financial management reforms. And also, they say these projects are selected based on economic evaluations, as well as expected contributions to the socio-economic development of the country, including employment generation, skills acquisition, support towards emergence of more entrepreneurs, poverty reduction, and food security to improve the livelihood in all 36 states of the federal capital. So this is, really to help boost the country socioeconomically. The president is saying if we need to take the country out of, the poverty that we're facing now, the hard times we're facing now, this borrowing is quite important. So the Senate will sit on it and deliberate on it, and in a week we'll know what their stance is.
Okay. So former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele has not been able to perfect his 300 million naira bill granted him by the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory on November 22nd. So he was returned back to Kuje prison straight from the court yesterday. And we know that he's standing trial on a 5-count charge filed against him by the federal government through the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. Now, the ex-CBN governor was accused of conferring corrupt advantage on himself, contrary to Section 19 of the Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Act of 2000. And he's being held in Kuje prison, was brought to court from Kuje prison yesterday by heavily armed prison officials. And his lawyer was saying that they are making efforts to see how they can ramp up with the 300 million for bail and see how they can, bail him before this week runs out. So let's see how that goes. But he's been returned back to Kuje prison.
So following up on the story of what's been happening in Ondo State, the political crisis took a new turn yesterday. The Deputy Governor Aiyedatiwa is expected to sign an undated resignation letter. This is according to the Speaker of the House of Assembly. He said this is part of the conditions that were reached from the peace parley they had with the president. He mentioned the fact that some of the people within the floor of the assembly were asking for him to be brought in as the acting governor. He said the peace parley already, he was reading out, he signed an agreement that part of the agreement they reached to achieve this peace is that they would maintain status quo. They don't want to achieve, they don't want a division where the deputy governor might be seeking to act. It should not seek a vendetta against the team. They should maintain APC political structure. They also, part of the things they agreed was that it wasn't going to become the acting governor. It will remain deputy governor, but he will be doing the work of the acting governor. And the speaker, the assembly would not, what they were planning to do, impeach him anymore. The impeachment moves will be stopped. His court cases against the government will be stopped. His expectation to become acting governor will not happen. He would function as deputy governor. He would sign an undated resignation letter that in case he wants to do shakara, they will just put a date in front of the resignation letter and take him out. But according to them, this is democracy at work, which is a participatory process of guiding the people. I doubt it, and I'm not sure. I don't know what other people will say. But if it gives them peace of mind and it gives Ondo State peace and good governance, I'm happy, you know. But it just smells fishy about this entire thing right from the beginning.
As Nima has been saying, there's a constitution already guiding this. Let us...
They should just follow the constitution.
Follow the rule of law. All this your peace parley and behind the scene. There's no need.
Moving on now to the Punch. Bank recapitalization. FG back CBN. Investors rush for mega bank stocks. FCT police nab suspected murderer. Kidnappers recover arms. Emefiele fails to perfect bail. EFCC opens 1.2 billion naira trial. Coup scared. 34 declared wanted. ECOWAS team arrives Sierra Leone. Boko Haram terrorists behead 11 Borno loggers. Bomo loggers, I believe. Borno loggers, yeah. Ondo crisis worsens. Assembly demands Aiyedatiwa's resignation, and Supreme Court. NJC screens 22 nominees. Candidates face DSS and others. Okay, let's take one story for the break. Oh, we don't have time for that. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at the review of the papers. Stay with us. We'll continue.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.